what is this copy? So sometimes we want to get the duplicate of this table. When you want to get the duplicate of this table, you can right click on the table, you can copy this table, you can click on paste. You can click on paste. So at the time of copying this table, how many ETL steps you have here? All the ETL steps will get in the copy table also. Let me do that. I'm copying this table, EMP table, and you can go to the queries pane anywhere here. You can right click on it. You can click on paste. When you click on paste, look at this. You will get a copy. So what data you have in this table for now? So 15 rows you have, 8 columns you have. Same 8 columns and 15 rows you will get it here. The same way in the EMP table, how many ETL steps you have for now? 4 ETL steps. Same thing, you will get exact copy. Now when you go to this copied table, so this is the table. So at the time of copying, how many ETL steps I have? 4 steps. How many columns and rows I have? Same data, same format, you will get it. So once you copied it, multiple times you can paste it. So I already copied it, right? You can right click here, click on paste. How many times you want, you can paste it. So already when you right click on it, when you copy it, so that copy operation will copy the data in this table. How many times you can right click, you can paste it whenever you want. So same thing, at the time of copying, what we'll have, you'll get the data here. Let me delete all these tables, delete all these tables. The same, if you want to get the copy table again, there is another option also, delete. So let me delete this one, right? When I right click on copy, when I go here, when I click on paste, you got the copy table. You can paste it many times, but there is another option here, EMP table, click on duplicate. So copy paste is a two-step process. Duplicate is a one-step process. So right click on EMP table, click on duplicate. Again, same thing will happen. So at the time of duplicating it, what data you have in this table, the data will come to the new table. Right click on it, click on duplicate. When you click on duplicate, it is creating a duplicate copy. At the time of duplicating, what data you have? Same data, 8 columns and 15 rows, 4 ETL steps you are seeing. So copy paste is a two-step process. Once you copy, you can paste it many times whenever you want it, many times. But duplicate, every time when you want to duplicate the same table, right click on it, duplicate, and you want to go again here, click on duplicate. So only thing is, copy paste is a two-step process, duplicate is a one-step process. Both the places you are getting the copied content here. Okay, fine. So I'll discuss, there is a important question, duplicate and reference. What is the difference between duplicate and reference? I'll discuss. So for now, just understand about copy paste, and you can go and copy the table and you can paste the table, or else you can directly right click on it, click on duplicate. Anything is fine. Then deleting the table. If you want to delete any table here, right click on it, click on delete the table. When you click on delete it, the table will be deleted. Sometimes we want to rename the table. Take an example here. I don't want to see this table as employee 2 EMP2. It is showing, right? I want to show this table as employee copy, like this I want to show. When I want to show this, right click on the table, click on rename. When you click on rename, it will allow you to change the column table name. Employee, I want to write the table name as employee copy. You can write any table name. For some reasons, if you think that, so basically what table name you have in the source, that name will come to Power Query. So when you want to change the name, table name, just right click on it, click on rename. The next options you are seeing is enable load and include in report refresh. So these two options are important. What is enable load, include in report refresh? Important options. Let's understand about them. Enable load and include in report refresh. Include in report refresh. Enable load, include in report refresh. Let's talk about first enable load. Enable load, what is the enable load is? Let's take an example. I have EMP table and DEPT table. Instead of loading this EMP table and DEPT table separately, what I'm planning is, I'm planning to join this EMP table and DEPT table data into one table, and one table with the name EMP DEPT, and I want to load as one table. Using merge queries, I want to combine this EMP table and DEPT table into one table. I want to load it. For that, select the EMP table, go to the merge queries as new, and join the EMP table with the DEPT table. The common column is department number column. The join kind is left outer join. Let me go with default join. Press OK. We'll get a new table. One way to rename this table is right click on it, rename. Another way is double click on it. It will allow you to rename. With the help of mouse, double click on it. It will allow you to rename. Anything is fine. Anything is fine. Double click on it. It will allow you to edit. I want to give the name as EMP DEPT. And let me go and select the columns from DEPT table. What columns I want? I don't want all the columns here. I want dname and location column. I don't want this table name dot column name. Press OK. Fine. I got the data. So this two tables data, I bring it to one table, EMP DEPT table this time. By default, when I click on close and apply, all the tables will be loaded into Power Pivot. All the tables, whatever the tables you have here, all the tables will be loaded into Power Pivot. How many tables you have? 10 tables. Frankly to speak, I don't want to load this EMP table and DEPT table. Why? Because the EMP table data and DEPT table data are there in this table. When I click on close and apply, this time all the 10 tables will be loaded into Power Pivot. Look at this. It will load all the 10 tables into Power Pivot this time. It is loading the tables. Let it load. All the 10 tables it got loaded. If you look at this, these are redundant tables. This EMP DEPT is redundant table here. Already there is a table which contains EMP DEPT data. I don't want to load the source tables. So how can you stop loading the source tables is go to the transform data. So for some reasons, if you think that you want to stop loading the tables in the Power Query itself. So I bought these tables from sources to Power Query and I created the output table here. This time I'm not planning to load these two tables into Power Pivot. I want to stop it here. So in the Power Query environment itself, if you want to stop loading them, right click on the table, click on enable load. By default, for every table, enable load option is checked. It was checked. By default, for every table, by default, for every table, enable load option is checked. Enable load option is checked. When it is checked, the table will be loaded into Power Pivot. When this option is checked, when enable load option is checked, the table will load into Power Pivot. Enable load option is checked. When enable load option is checked, the table will load into Power Pivot. For some reasons, if you want to stop that loading, if you want to stop loading the table, so for some reasons, if you don't want to load some tables, for some reasons, if you don't want to load the table into Power Pivot, what you can do this time is, when you don't want to load the table into the Power Pivot, go and uncheck this option. Go and uncheck enable load option. When you uncheck enable load option, this time it will not load the table. It will not load the table to the Power Pivot. It will not load the table to the Power Pivot. So when you are doing merge queries or append queries, basically we don't want to load the source tables. We want to stop them here itself. Right click on the table, click on enable load. It will give one message. So when you uncheck this EMP table, possibly data loss warning. So disabling load will remove the table from report, from Power Pivot. The meaning is from Power Pivot it will remove this table, and any visuals that uses it columns will be broken. What is this warning is? You already loaded this table here, EMP table and DEPT table. For some reasons you created some visuals here on top of this EMP table. On top of this EMP table, when I create some visuals here, either of these two tables, when I create some visuals, so when I disable that option, it will remove the tables. When you remove the tables, the visual will become invalid. No worries. For now, I haven't created any visuals here. No worries. You can or remove them. You can remove them. You can proceed it. Go and click on enable load. So click on continue. Click on continue. Same thing. Go to the DEPT table. Click on enable load. Click on continue. Now these two tables will not load. Totally 10 tables are there. When I click on close and apply, it will load how many tables, guys? Only 8 tables. Look at this. You are missing EMP table and DEPT table. So 2 tables individually you are missing. The result only you are seeing here, right? For some reasons, if you don't want to load those tables into Power Pivot, you want to go and uncheck those options. So that is the enable load. Include in report refresh. By default, again, include in report refresh option is enabled. By default, include in report refresh option is checked or enabled. Checked. For any table, by default, include in report refresh option is checked. Take an example. There is a let me bring one more table from orders table. There is a customer table, product table, sales table. There is one more table called time table. I want to bring the time table from same database. When you want to bring the time table from the same database, click on new source. Again from SQL Server. Let me go here. Let me provide the server. I want to bring one more table here. Let me bring it. Press OK. From which database I want to bring it is, I want to bring it from the product database. The table is time table. Click on OK. Let me bring it here. I want this table also. So by default, when you go to the any table, this include in report refresh option is checked. It was checked here. It was checked. So what is this option? We'll try to understand. Now let me click on close and apply. When I click on close and apply, all the tables are loaded, right? So this option is related to refresh, guys. This option is related to refresh. You have refresh, right? So totally I have some tables here. 3, 3, 3, 9 tables I have. 9 tables I have. So when I want to bring the updated data to these 9 tables, you just go and click on refresh. When you click on refresh, look at this. All the 9 tables it will refresh. It will go to the all 9 tables, whatever you have. It will bring the updated data. So when I click on refresh, when I look at this, it will go to all the 9 tables. It will bring the new data. There are some cases where we call static dimension tables. There is a concept called static tables or static dimension tables. There are, when you connect to the data sources here, let me go to quick links. So when you bring some tables to the Power Pivot, oh God. When you go to the data sources, when you bring some tables to Power Pivot data set, so in the data set, when you have some 10 tables, so in the 10 tables, you will have some static tables. There is a concept called static tables or static dimension tables. Static tables and or static dimension tables. Static dimension tables. Dimension tables. Static tables are static dimension tables. So what is the static tables or static dimension tables here is static tables or static dimension tables. What we can do with these tables is the meaning is the data in these tables will not change. Sometimes you will have some sources where you will have some tables. The data in the tables will not change anyway. Will not change. So static tables or static dimension tables is nothing but the data in the tables will not change. The data in the tables will not change. The data in the tables will not change. Fine. Okay, the data in the tables will not change in the static dimension tables. So when the data is not changing here, take an example. This is one example of static dimension table. You'll have date dimension table or time table, right? Basically, the date dimension table or time table, it will not change the data. So one example here is date table. Example for static tables is date dimension table. Date dimension table. Sometimes some people will call it as date dimension table. Some people will call this as time table. Time table. So whatever the table you have here, this time table, this will not change the data basically all the time. When you create a time table or dim underscore date table, it will not change the data in our source system. And a sales table, it will change. Why? Because tomorrow when a new sales transaction is happening, in the sales table you will get that record. So the data will be changing here. So customer table customer table will change. Why? Because tomorrow when a new customer is coming, we'll enter the new data in the customer table. Same way, when we are selling new product table also will change. There are some tables where the data will not change. Take an example. I have one table in my source, country table. In that country table, what we did is, at the time of starting the project, in the world, how many countries you have? In the world, how many countries we have? All the countries information I loaded in the table. So there will be no new country which is coming time to time. So at the time of creating the table, in the world, how many countries I have? All the countries. That country related information I added here. Take an example, small example, and think that this country table will not change the data in the future also. Why? Because there will be no country which will come within less time, right? When this table is not going to change the data, if you think that there is one table in my source which will not change the data anytime, then what is the need of refreshing the table all the time? What is the need of refreshing the table all the time? I know that this time data table is not going to change the data. It is a static table. Now when I click on refresh every time, when you go and check it here, it will even refresh time data table. It's not taking much time here. Let me show you where you find the time data table. Let me click on refresh. Oh, good. Just give some time. Click on refresh. Let me go here. When you look at this timetable, it is refreshing. So this timetable will not change the data. Every time when you click on refresh, what happens is it will go to all the source tables. It will bring the data and it will load the data to the PowerPoint. It will load the data to the PowerPoint. This timetable, the data will not change. Every time when you refresh, it will not change. It will bring the same data. What happens is default refresh behavior. I'll explain guys here. So default refresh behavior is full refresh. When you click on refresh, it is full refresh. Refresh button is used for bringing the new data into the tables, bringing the new data into tables. So by default, when you click on refresh, it will remove all the data in the existing tables. How many tables you have here? It will remove all the data in the tables. It will completely remove all the data in the tables. It will freshly reload complete data. So when you refresh, it will truncate and load all the tables by default. Truncate and load all the tables by default. This time I'm telling that clearly. There is a table called timetable. In the timetable, the data will not change. When it is not changing, what is the need of truncating this table every time? What is the need of bringing the same data again? It is a redundant work. It is time waste. So basically you are not taking much time here, but in the real world, when you refresh, it will take 30 minutes to refresh your data set. Sometimes it will take 30 minutes to refresh your data set. To refresh all the tables, it will even take 30 minutes also. It will even take 1 hour also in the real world. Why? Because the tables which we are working in the real world will contain huge volumes of data, millions of records of data. When you click on refresh, it need to go and bring the data of millions of records of data every time. So when you have any static tables, you can uncheck that option. When you uncheck that option, report refresh performance will increase. Only thing is, this time when I click on refresh, I don't want to refresh this timetable. I'm refreshing this timetable. I don't want to refresh this timetable. Why? Because it will not change the data. When you don't want to refresh this, go to the transform data. Go to the time data table, right click on it, click on include in report refresh, uncheck. So this time I'm unchecking this option. When you uncheck this option, when you click on close and apply this time, so it will refresh all the tables data, but it will not touch this table. It will not refresh it. When you just click on refresh, look at this. You don't find any table with the timetable. Are you seeing any table here? Previously I seen some timetable here. Now I am not seeing timetable is refreshing. The reason is, here what we did for the table, I'm telling that this table is a static table where it cannot change the data. You don't want to refresh every time. When you report refresh it, you don't want to refresh it. Fine. For some reasons, for static dimension tables, go and uncheck this include in report refresh option, which will improve the report refresh performance. For static dimension tables, uncheck include in report refresh option, which will increase your report refresh, which will help you to refresh the report quickly, which will help you to refresh the report quickly. There are some cases where you will have a lot of static tables also in the source. That time, every time you don't want to refresh it, go and uncheck it. Fine, that is this option, guys. Nothing more. That is this option. Let me discuss other options here. These two options are important. Enable load, include in report refresh, or important option. Anybody have any questions about these two options? Enable load and include in report refresh. Fine. The next one is duplicate. If you want to duplicate any table, you can duplicate. Let me duplicate. Right click on this table, click on duplicate. When you click on duplicate, so at the time of duplicating this table, what data you'll have, you'll get it. I already discussed it. Let me delete it, guys. Let me go and enable this load option. Let me go and enable load this option. When I right click on it, when I click on duplicate, we'll get a duplicate table. Let me try to explain both duplicate and reference at the time. Click on reference. This is EMP duplicate. Let me give the name as EMP duplicate. This is EMP reference. I created using reference option. EMP reference. So both the classes you'll get at the time of duplicating how many columns you have, how many rows you have. You'll get into the duplicate as well. You'll get into the reference also. When you go to the reference also you'll get same 8 columns and 15 rows. Duplicate also you'll get same 8 columns, 8 rows. At the time of duplicating what you have, you'll get it. Now let me write here duplicate, and the next option is reference. So now once you duplicate, once you reference, when you make any changes to the source table, the duplicate table will not change, but the reference table will change. Reference table always maintain a link with the source table. So when you make any changes to the source table, duplicate, using a duplicate option, you can create a duplicate table, right? Both duplicate and reference are used for creating a table. So when you duplicate the table, when you make any changes to the sales table, when you make any changes to source table, when you make any changes to the source table, duplicate table will not change. Duplicate table will not change. It is an independent copy. It will create an independent copy. At the time of duplicating, what data you have, only the data will come to the duplicate. Tomorrow when you go and make any changes to the source table, this duplicate table will not change. It is an independent table. Duplicate table is an independent table of source table. Duplicate table is an independent table of source table. Independent table. But reference, when you reference it, when you make any changes to the source table, this time the reference table will change. The reference table, when you make any changes to the source table, the reference table will change. The data in the reference table will be changed. The reference table is a dependent table on source table. Reference table is a dependent table on source table. Reference table is dependent on source table. Look at this. Even you can look at here. So this is duplicate, this is reference, right? Go to the view tab. You have query dependencies here. When I click on query dependencies, you can see something here. Let me explain what is this. Using EMP table, we created duplicate and reference. Let me show you here. From this source, you brought EMP table first, and using from this is the Excel. Let me uncheck this. I don't want to select any table here. This is the source, and from this source I bought EMP table. On the EMP table I duplicated it, I referenced it. EMP reference, you are seeing link with the original table. On the top of this I referenced it. You are seeing the link to this. But when it comes to employee duplicate, here you are seeing employee duplicate, right? When you look at the employee duplicate, even though on the same EMP table I duplicated it, but is it showing any link with this? No. At the time of duplicating this EMP table, what data you have, you got it here. From now, it will directly link with the source table. When you make any changes here, the changes will not come to this duplicate table. But when it comes to reference, so when you make any changes to the source table, this reference table will change automatically. Okay, that is what it is happening like here. So let me go and change it. Now, when you go to the Power Query here, so in the EMP table, I have 8 columns, right? Let me go and delete one column here. Let me go and delete this department number column. When I delete the department number column, in the duplicate column, it will not delete. Why? Because at the time of duplicating, what you will have, you will get it. But in the reference table, it will delete. Look at the applied steps here. When it is duplicate, at the time of duplicating, what steps you have, you are getting all the steps. But when you go to the reference, look at this. How many steps you are seeing here? Only one step. And what is the code it is writing code? Equal to EMP. Always it will take the source as EMP, and then you can perform additional activities here. There are some cases what we need is, we'll have one table and it contains some data. I want to take this data as source, and then on top of that I want to perform additional ETL activities. That time I want to go and reference it. So tomorrow when you perform any new ETL activity here, that ETL activity automatically will come to this reference table, reference data. Okay, let me remove this. When I go and remove this column here, department number column, right click on it, click on remove. Look at this. This EMP duplicate still showing 8 columns. In EMP duplicate, you will see a department number column. But when it comes to reference, go to the reference here. So in the reference, you are not seeing the department number column. Always, what data you have in the EMP table, that data it will take. On top of this, you can perform additional ETL activities. On top of this, I can perform additional ETL activities like adding the whatever you want, you can perform it. Let's assume I want to derive here something like this, you can perform it. When you make any changes to the reference table, it will not go back to the original table. When you make any changes in the original table, that will come to the reference table, guys. So when you bring that column back, automatically in the reference table, you will see the department number column also. You got it back, right? Right. This is the difference between a duplicate and a reference. Duplicate and reference. The next options you are seeing here is move to group. Sometimes we'll bring lot of tables into the Power Query. So referring a table here in the bigger list is difficult. Instead of showing all the tables separately here, why don't you segregate all these tables into multiple folders? Create one folder with the name employee and keep all the employee related tables in this folder. Create a table with the name sales, folder, not table. Create a folder with the name sales. All the sales related tables, keep it here. Whatever the sales related tables you have, orders table, sales data table, all this, keep it here. So now I want to segregate this into 2 different folders. So instead of when I want to refer a table here, I want to refer a table in 13 tables. Instead of this, if you want to manage them easily, you can create the folders, you can keep it them in the folders. How can you create the folders is, when you right click on it, you will see an option called move to group. When I click on move to group, it is asking to create a new folder. New group is nothing but new folder. For now, I haven't created any folder here. That is the reason it is asking to create a group first. One thing what you can do is right click on it. You can even create a new group here. Go to the queries pane, right click on it, click on a new group here. Click on a new group and you can give the group name. One group name is employee tables. All the employee related tables, I want to keep it here. Create the group name as employee tables, press OK. You'll get one folder this time. And one folder is employee tables, another folder is other queries. All the other queries you have here. This time in this employee tables, I want to move all the employee related tables here. Employee, right click on it, you'll find an option called move to group. This time Already it is showing a folder which we created, or if you want to create a new folder from here, you can create it. This time I don't want to create a new folder. I want to move it to the employee table. So select all the, at one shot you can send all the tables. I can send DEPT table and EMP DEPT table, EMP duplicate, EMP reference, and DEPT table. All these tables are related to employee. Right click on them, move to group, click on employee tables. All this went to employee tables. Now go with this. And this time I want to create another folder with the name sales tables. So there is an employee copy also. You can even send this table also. Right click on it, move to the group, employee table. Now I want to create another folder where I want to keep all the sales tables in that. So how can you create it is, one way, right click on it, click on new group. Another way, directly click on the sales data table, right click on it, move to group. This time I don't want to go to this group. I want to create a new group here. Click on new group. You can write sales tables here. Sales tables. When you press OK, it will create a new folder. Automatically to that folder, it will send the tables. If you think that there is any sales tables here, orders table is a sales table, and our returns table is also related to sales table. I'm planning to move these two tables to, right click on it, move to group, click on sales tables data. Or else all these tables are related to sales only. Select them, right click on it, move to group, sales tables. Like this, you can move it, guys. This time, when I want to refer any employee table, I can simply go to the employee table. I can expand it, employee tables group. I can select the table. I can do the ETL activities on that. When I want to refer to the sales tables, I can go to this folder. I can click on it. So these folders are specific to Power Query only. When I click on close and apply, that folders will not come till Power Pivot. That will not come to till Power Pivot. When you look at this, when you load the data, so you will not see any folders here. Are you seeing any folders here? When you look at this, you will see individual tables here. So for easily maintaining in Power Query, you can create the folders. You can manage the tables in the folders. And the next option you are finding there is, right click on it, move up and move down. For some reasons, if you want to change the order of the tables, let's assume this timetable, I want to send it to the top. I don't want this timetable in the bottom. I want to send it to the top. Or else in this sales data orders table, I want to move it to first. In the orders table, you have middle, right? I want to move it to the first. To move it to the first, right click on it. You find an option called move up, move down. Move up and move down. Click on move up and it will go one step up. Right click on it, move up. Or else when you click on move down, it will go one step down. Move down, it will go one step down. This time this orders table I want almost in the starting. When I want this in the starting, you want to move this from here to starting edge. How can you move it? With the mouse. Instead of selecting this move up multiple times, with mouse select this table and drag it where you want. You are seeing some yellow line. Wherever you want this table, drop it. Now you got it here, right? Like this, you can change the order with move up and move down. Create function, convert to parameter. These two are important options. Create function, I'll discuss about it. So here you have how to create the custom functions, how to use the custom functions. Almost 20 minutes of time, I'll discuss about these options. You will understand what is this create function, what is the purpose of it, and same way convert to parameter. Again, parameters concept is half an hour concept. I'll talk about manage parameters. What is parameters? Why we need to create the parameters? How to use the parameters? I'll discuss. These two options are related to functions and parameters. These two, to explain it, it will take 1 hour of time. So I'll discuss it in the coming classes. Let's keep it on hold for now. The next options you are seeing here is advanced editor. We know what advanced editor will show. Advanced editor will show the complete M code on the table. On this table, what is the M code you have? If you want to see the complete M code, you can click on advanced editor where you can see all the 4 steps M code. So when you select any step, a single step M code you can see in the formula bar. If you want to see the complete M code of the table, where you can see the complete M code, right click on it, click on advanced editor where you can find the complete M code of the table. And same way, advanced editor you can find it in many places. Right click on it. One way you can find it here on the home tab. You can find advanced editor. Anywhere is fine. Anywhere is fine. That is advanced editor. Next one is properties. When you click on properties, it will open one window. So where you can rename the table. I selected EMP table. I click on properties where you can change the table name. And if you want, you can add the description here of this table. So why you bought this table to Power Query? What is the purpose of this table? If you want to add some description here, we can add the description. And This enable load to the report, include in report refresh, I already discussed it. One way you can uncheck them here also. You can uncheck them here also. And another way you can, this is renaming the table. We already find that option in the query options. Enable load to the report, we already find it in the right click options. Include in report refresh, we already find it. Extra what you are seeing here, writing the description to the table. When you bring some table, what purpose you bring it, what is the use of it? If you want to write it, you can describe this table here. Describe this table here. Fine, guys, these are the different query options. Anybody have any questions about these query options? Fine. If there is no questions, you can stop here. We'll continue from here in tomorrow's class. Just let me publish it. Let me publish it once.